I do not know. You can choose free.
Right down to do is just kind of share and answer questions about sort of like where Asbury is going. What are our hopes and dreams for Asbury? What do we want our school to look like in a few years? What do we want our children to walk out of the building with? And then I look at staff and I wonder, where do you want to be in a couple of years? It's really important to me as staff comes forward and says, this is something I want to do, or this is something I want to do that I can help fulfill their dreams too. Because I think we all know that happy adults make happy children. So I did write something up. I'm usually much better on the fly, but the one thing that I wanted to share is really the vision. A few years ago, the staff came together and kind of brought our hopes and our dreams and our aspirations and our talents and our ideas and our words together and recreated the vision for Asbury. And it was this all-day event, and a couple of us were there, and it was really, really powerful. And we said, what words can we not live with? Like, what are the things we don't want to commit to? What are the things we can't live without? And so I wanted to be able to share our vision because I'm not sure everyone sees it as much as we use it and see it every day. So I'll start with that. At Asbury, we are a diverse, vibrant community of inquisitive and engaged learners. We are committed to excellence and equity to foster self-directed, respectful, and empowered lifelong learners. And for us, you'll notice that we use the word we because we didn't want to limit it to children. We wanted it to be about adults. We wanted it to be about our community or anyone that kind of walks through our door feels empowered, feels like a lifelong learner, feels like they can sort of create their own path. And so the reason that we launched this campaign was that, several folks, including Lizzie, who has helped really get this off the ground with her amazing cohort, asked, Alicia, what's your vision for Asbury, right? So in addition to just these words that we keep on a poster in our building or live in our PowerPoints, my vision really is about everything. How do we give every child in the building the opportunity to do whatever they want, right? And not in this traditional sort of paper and pencil or math and literacy or science, although we recognize the importance, but everything. How do we fill their buckets? How do we make them smile? How do we create environments that are joyful? How do we problem solve in moments of conflict? I think we all have experienced something with our child where we thought, that doesn't feel good, right? Or how do that kid's picking on my kid or my kid's picking on that kid. How do we uncover or take those teachable moments and build it into our vision so we continue to have self-directed and empowered lifelong learners in all aspects? And creating that environment takes a lot, right? It takes a lot of woman and manpower, human power, if you will. It takes a lot of dedication. I think I have some of the most dedicated staff that I could ever ask for. I feel so lucky that the folks that are here with me tonight, yes, snap your and I feel so lucky to, and I share this with the staff, walk beside the people in the room. If they need me to, I'll walk out in front. If they need me to, I'll stand in the back to support them from behind. But we walk side by side and make decisions together. But I also want the adults in the building to feel supported. So again, children get what they need. And so I think for the staff that's here tonight, I want to be able to turn it over to them about some of their visions, and even folks who are at home planning and grading and hopefully relaxing a little bit, that we tap into what they need to move forward. But when I think about overall the vision at Asbury, it is about sort of this environment of support, right? So kids can come to the table with a potential learning disability, and they have the best teacher and the best paraprofessional and the best people in the building supporting them with the best programs. And that our paraprofessionals are highly trained, skilled educators who are in front of children every day. And children who go to our gifted and talented program have this robust, challenging, rigorous, but also fun and engaging curriculum that they are a part of. And when they go to art, they can create anything their hearts desire, right? Or they can draw with paper and pencil, right? That all of those options are there. And when they're in technology, they have the ability to sort of understand the business world that's in front of them, but also create a PowerPoint that's simple but real, and learn how to type, right? These are all important skills. And so it takes, I think, a lot of robust sort of training and planning and people, which the whole point of this process that it also takes a lot of funding, right? So I think when we think about funding in Colorado, we all know we're sort of at the very bottom, and recently our teachers stood up for what they believed in. Kudos to them. We're all very proud. And so we're making some changes and shifts in the district, but we still at our building level, because we're a student-based budget, it's a very small budget that we manage. And luckily Pam Kirk was an excellent saver and has kind of helped me figure out how to save and support our budget over the years. But if we want all of these things to come to fruition, if you want your child to walk in the door and have all of the opportunities you could ever imagine, we have to fill in the gaps, which is not a deficit, but going forward. How do we keep bolstering the experience for kiddos? And so I appreciate the dedication to this campaign and all of our fundraising, because it really is about figuring out what's next, right? Where do we keep going? I say to the staff all the time, I want people to come to Asbury and say, we came here because we heard you were crushing it. We want to see what you're doing. We want everybody to come to Asbury and be like, go to the second grade team and watch OG, right? Go to fourth grade and watch them learn how to write graphs. And they're going to go to Boulder. Like, go to fifth grade and learn about like service learning, or third grade and learn how to be a lawyer, and kindergarten and just love pets endlessly. Forever. Can you recycle those pets? But anyway, don't worry. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like, can't you take one out, put one in? No one will know.
No one will know.
One in, one out.
Right.
Erase them all.
Yeah, build courses.
Really?
But I do think it comes down to sort of like when teachers have their dreams fulfilled, when they can imagine a classroom that is innovative and exciting and creative, then children are automatically in awe. And, like I say all the time, that kids, don't care what you know until they know that you care. And then they know that you care because you're responding to what they need. You're creating curriculum that's exciting, it's joyful, it's rigorous, it's challenging. And so as much as we support children, and children are always at the forefront of my decision making, it's also about the adults in the building having the proper supports to make those things happen. So that's just a little bit about what I think about when I think about Asbury, and I feel very fortunate to be a part of this community. They are my family and my friends. It truly is my second home. Just ask my husband. And but it's a great place to be, right? And so I'd love to hear kind of from the staff about where you hope the school is going in the next couple of years, as we sort of, I know Desi has brought some things to talk about personalized learning, because it is a really big part of our vision, right? How do we create an environment that taps into like what Jacob needs and what Max needs, and like all of us, right? All of your kiddos, and yes, I know all of their names. They ask me all the time. I'm like, it's kind of my job to know. But how do we tap into that, right? And so I think Desi has a little bit to share about what that looks like, and then I'd love to open it up to anyone else who wants to tap into that.
So I'm Desi Kennedy. I've met most of you in the room, not everyone, but I am the personalized learning coordinator at Asbury. It's my second year doing this. Asbury has been engaged with personalized learning for, I think, 4 years. And so my role it encompasses so much, so it's really hard to sort of narrow it down. However, all of those words in the vision, in our Asbury vision, really are, you pull them out, and each piece of that is personalized learning. We really focus on how can we create or encourage students to take ownership over their learning and to lead a more self-directed journey within their education. And so part of doing that, we implement certain tools within personalized learning that helps them get there. And I support the teachers and students in doing that. And that encompasses goal setting, that encompasses project-based learning, which that's probably the biggest thing that many of you have heard about. And we document all of that through our social media platforms to share that out with families, the process of it, which is really important. And so I think within the project-based learning, there's not many elementary schools who engage within that. And so we want to become like just better and better and better at it and bolster up those projects because every grade level participates in 2 per year, and then we expo them and they just keep getting better and better. And so I think as far as like funding for us to go into more workshops and training and how to get better at that, then will benefit the students. And that's just one tiny leg of it. But I think for us, we're really thinking about sustainability because I may not be here next year or the year after. And so all of the work that Asbury staff has put into personalized learning, and it's a mind shift. It's a whole, you're taking traditional teaching practices and turning them into more out of the box thinking, taking risks, letting students lead more than teachers. And so it's a complete mind shift for some people. And I think, how will this be sustainable if they don't have somebody supporting that role? And so I think that's a huge piece of just trying to bulk up everything so that when this fizzles, which I hope it never does because I love my job.
Don't say it.
So I always say I'm going to do cookies and have bake sales and to fund my position, or I'll stay on pro bono. I don't know, but anyway. I just truly love my job so much. So anyway, I put my heart and soul into it, and I love your kiddos, and we just want to keep the work going. Whatever works.
All right.
That's good. I had to shift the camera angle.
I wasn't totally prepared to speak, but I guess I'll touch on something. I'll touch on something different, or along with the personalized learning, because I think you guys hit it exactly how I would have said it. That is like what was my piece of passion as far as coming into teaching. And Alicia said something along the lines earlier of, I want to make teachers' dreams come true of like, what is your dream classroom? And from the get-go, like ever since I knew what a job was, I knew I wanted to be a third grade teacher. Like I didn't want to be anything else, and I got my dream job out of college. So I'm the example of like, I got exactly what I wanted, and I'm sitting here teaching students and still not feeling prepared. I got a great education, like I had all the resources, the opportunities, and there were still things I didn't know. And with certain opportunities, and with that comes money and budget, I'm able to now, like right now we are going through this OG training where I'm able to reach kids I never thought I'd be able to reach.
What is OG?
OG is Orton and Gillingham. So it is a phonics program that is designed to help not only kids just in general with phonics, but targeted to kids with dyslexia. And in today's day and age, Vio and I have this like hypothesis that technology is killing kids' phonics. We don't know if that's proven, so don't quote me. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that having the dream of being the teacher wasn't enough, and I realized there was more I needed, and there was more I needed to be able to reach every single kid in my room. And it's with being able to have people like Desi to help me with project-based learning to engage kids. It's like getting training like OG to reach kids who are struggling with reading, who don't understand the phonics. And I personally have learned so much this week about phonics. I'm like, oh, that's why the A says A like that. But as a teacher and within our vision, we say we want kids to be lifelong learners. It doesn't stop when you graduate from college. It doesn't stop when you get a job. And I am continuously a lifelong learner. And I can't do that unless I have opportunities to be able to do that in an expertise-like way. Like, yes, I learn every day. I figure new things out, but there are systematic and research-based programs that are allowing us to go back and learn how to best reach these kids, because today's day and age is totally different than many, many years ago. And so we want to be the innovative school that knows how to target and personalize our learning to every kid, whether it's with the engagement or the interests or the projects, but also with ability level and things they need and things that they don't get. And I could go on about it forever, but I'm just so blessed that I'm in my third year right now, and I feel more prepared to be teaching than I did during my master's program. And I give all props to Asbury because they gave me those opportunities and to learn more and to be the teacher I am today. And that's all I gotta say.
So I'm Nick Casey. I'm the Dean of Instruction at Asbury. So I'm not a teacher per se, although I did have the privilege of teaching during the strike. And I'm gonna say it's a privilege honor because a lot of times my job is behind the scenes, and working with teachers to ensure that they have the supports they need to track data in efficient ways, to streamline supports for behavior and academics. Part of Alicia's vision, like with fulfilling the personalized learning, is how do we streamline academics and behavior so that all students, no matter what their unique differences or capabilities may be, that they all feel supported and valued at Asbury. And so, and Christy, love to have you speak to this. Like
I shall.
I can say all I want about how awesome is the direction we're going, but I think to hear from someone in the room who's experienced it is all the better. But if you could just speak to a little bit maybe about how MTSS, how we try to personalize it for Kelvin. But that's just a big vision, is like, how can we get students to own their learning and own their behaviors, whether they're positively or maybe not always positively impacting their learning. And so being in Vio's class, I'll bring it back full circle here. It was awesome because I used to taught for 10 years and personalized learning was my jam. I worked with NASA, Buck Institute, seeing what Desi does and getting a chance to even collaborate with Desi on like supporting their teachers. One teacher we're working with right now, GT, it's just awesome to see how things come together in our school building. And because of the teaching, I'm like, man, I like turned to Alicia, I was like, I want to do some personalized learning. Like, how can I get back into this? Like, yeah, I want to do all this behind the scenes work, but like, I also just want to be with the kids more. And so
So I think like kind of as I was listening to Hannah speak about like her experience and how she grew up always wanting to be a third grade teacher, and it was something that not necessarily I grew up wanting to necessarily do, but I have fallen in love with it in a lot of ways, and I was also just kind of thinking about our difference in experience starting so many years ago and how different the system was, and how much has changed. And I think even just how much Asbury's changed, because I've spent the majority of my career at this school and in this community. And, we've always worked, from a curriculum kind of thing. And I've always grown up loving learning. I was the good student. I was the rule follower. That was me. And things don't change, but it has been, it's just been kind of eye-opening too, that what I do realize is that I've always been a lifelong learner, and I've gotten into the profession. I got into the profession a lot later in life. I had done corporate stuff. I've done a lot of traveling. My background, my degree was not in education, but I had always loved learning, and I always loved passing that along. But also knowing that like I was that good student, that thing. It's been a real journey for me, and it's become kind of a passion to help those kids where it's not as easy. And I think this whole personalized learning and PBL focus has been a huge switch. And that's the piece that I think I've fallen in love with. I've really appreciated the ability to kind of buck the curriculum and say, yes, I know as second graders, we need those basic skills, which I have very much geeked out on, like this last week with OG, and I have begged for this training for 3 years, and I'm really glad we finally found the money to do it, because it's something that I do love. I love literacy, but I also love science, and I love, getting out, and I love being in nature, and I love that whole piece of getting kids as hands-on as possible. And that's where the passion lies in education, and that's really what I want kids to experience. And so I think that just this whole vision of becoming self-directed learners, and yes, I mean, no, we're not going to do, classes on how to get better at Fortnite or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about by any means. But I mean, just finding those areas where, you can kind of push kids' thinking and just getting them engaged and involved in their larger world, and their smaller communities and things like that, to just kind of guide and teach those things through that is just been sort of a fun journey. And it's like, I don't think I could go back, to be be honest with you. I think if Alicia came back to me and said, no, you have to teach the benchmark curriculum next week, I'd probably say then I can't do this anymore. Because that's what learning's about. It's, and I'm glad now that I have those skills to push, those kids that do need that little extra, that are stuck and that need that extra piece. But, we can do that within this bigger context of also inspiring and wanting kids to push themselves and to become lifelong learners. And, that's just kind of always the way I've been too. There's something I want to learn about, I will go do it. And I want to inspire that drive because that's what I believe in. And that's the fun part of walking into that building every day. And so I'm really glad that we have not only a community that supports that, but an administration that supports that, and an administration that trusts that, and the people that will stand behind you to do it. So, yeah, so that's where I'm coming from.
So this is my my 6th year at Asbury, but I've been there much longer. 10th year at Asbury because I was a parent first, and so before coming to Asbury, I taught in Pennsylvania, and then we moved out here and I taught in Cherry Creek. I've been a classroom teacher my entire career. Like I taught 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. 4th grade's like absolute favorite. I still treat them that way because I taught 4th grade. But then I finished in Cherry Creek right before Dylan was born, and then I basically stayed home for 8 years. And so during those 8 years, I did a lot with our preschool, and then I did a lot with Asbury, and I got to know these guys even like before a lot of the teachers. Not you yet. But a lot of the teachers. She wasn't even born. Guys, I got to know a lot of the teachers at that point, and being involved in different things. So I saw like kind of Asbury as it was growing, because when we were moved to the neighborhood, it was kind of like people aren't going to Asbury. They're like, oh no, you don't. It's like why, and so we went and looked around at different schools and things, and it was definitely growing in the direction that we liked. And so, we were glad to be a part of it. Dylan started in kindergarten, got to know Anne, and, lifelong friends. And so it's like this whole process that when I was ready to go back, when Brody started kindergarten, was the year that we decided that I was going to try to go back to school and things like that. And there was an opening for a intervention position, and I thought, a shift would be good for me. And so, I basically, after being there as a parent, I had to put on nice clothes and come in and have an interview with these people that I'm getting to know and not go ski that day. But basically, got that job, got into and just fell in love with the community and everything. Our teachers, our staff, we are absolutely family.